unhard stuck in
Yeah.
Overwatch
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
tank, but DPS is a different beast, and I've been the flex player in Overwatch, aka the tank player, or the
Yeah.
support player in Overwatch 1 and the tank player. And I'm being a little more greedy this time. I found two characters I really like.
Yeah.
Um,
Makes sense.
so I've been trying to figure out the DPS thing, and there's some different mindsets. Like, is it an ego duel? Or do
Right.
I go in here? Am I the dive initiator on,
Yeah. I
you
think
know?
that here's the strategy. I think what you do is like, and this is a lot harder for lower rank players because I think, or just I guess more inexperienced players, because you kind of have to tell them what is good and what is bad. It's kind of like when you're dealing with like a 1 or 2 year old, right? Like ultimately you just have to say, like, you don't put your finger in the outlet, right? You just don't do that, right?
So I'm
You know?
coaching some friends who are, bronze to gold, who just started this kind of game, or they don't play first person shooters. And it's hilarious, like the
Yeah.
difference. I'm making some embarrassingly bad
Of
mistakes. I
course.
am
Of
not
course. We
throwing,
all do.
like, I'm a little bit embarrassed because I found some decently averagely bad reviews. So
Mm-hmm.
there's, parts where I'm fucking playing cracked out of my mind, pardon my language. And then
Yeah.
there's parts where it's like I have like mittens on the keyboard and blinders on, and
Yeah.
that's one of my biggest things is the inconsistency with good decision making.
Right. I mean, we could talk about that. I think like when you make that transition from lower rank to higher rank player, you should have a better idea of what statistically makes the most sense and what doesn't make the most sense. Like if we're talking about both Magic and Psylocke, especially with Magic, there are going to be situations where you do have to read the situation and go, I can one shot this character. And it makes
Yeah,
sense
that's
that I
kind
would
of one
try
of her
to,
big
right?
things, yeah.
Right. So like it makes sense that I should do this. I should do this. So like
But maybe I
when
shouldn't charge the Bucky straight on when he's already looking at me. That's probably a bad idea.
exactly. And
I think I
that's like
did that at least once in this
well,
replay.
that's the line between ego and taking risks, right? Like you have to take risks, but you always like let's put it this way. Would you ever like flip a coin for $50? You lose $50, you gain $50, but you have a 60% chance to win 50. Like the coin is gonna land head 60% of the time, right? Like
Yeah, it's
you
the
would take that,
percentage versus
right?
the risk reward on
Right. So
top
you would
of,
lose
yeah.
a lot, but you would know, oh, I know that this is the right thing. Heck, I'll do this all day. Actually, I'm going to quit my job. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be it right there, right? And it's the same thing with Magic, right? Like the question is like, would this make sense? Does it like, do I have an advantage in here? Do I have space? Do I have a cooldown? Do I have cover? Is that what the fight right now demands? And if the answer is yes, then you just need to do it, right? You just have to. If you fail miserably, you fail mechanically, you can't second guess whether it was the right decision or not. But ultimately, I think that's like the big difference between like an infant in Marvel Rivals and an adult like you said, you're Diamond now, right? So,
Yeah, I've been
like
floating into Grandmaster off and
right.
on. I played maybe a couple too many games last night and lost a
Yeah,
couple
fair
too
enough.
many.
Whatever. We'll label you as Grandmaster. But the point being is that like you have the experience to know what's a good engage, what's a bad engage. So like basically, it's the voices should be educated to know like this makes sense, this doesn't make sense. Because I think when we talk about the voices, I know we're kind of joking here, but like ultimately, I find the voices what the voices is it's instinct. It's instinct. It's not thinking, it's just doing, right? And that's ultimately that is how you should be playing, right? But the problem is that not everybody's instinct is trained, right? So let me give you an example. There's we can even get outside of it, right? Let's say there's a bias towards I am just generally scared of horses or think like big animals, right?
Are
I'm
you
like 10
scared of
years
horses, Mo?
right. No, I'm not. But like, let's say you're 10 years old, right? Like you had a bad experience and you're 10 years old, and now everything with hooves just terrifies you. Now, a healthy amount of respect to a bigger animal is normal, but there would be an instinct or a bias towards something that isn't necessarily fully logical, right? And that's where you have to actively, physically, purposefully, consciously, specifically train that bias to be less terrified of hooved animals. Okay. Now we train that in like a video game application. If you find yourself, okay, the voices click, it's really, really good. But sometimes I see opportunities and I just commit to the combo even when it doesn't make sense. Well, we need to really specifically decide when is that the case? What situations are you biasing yourself towards? I can win that. You talked about a Bucky, right? 275 HP character, generates 7,000 HP on his shields,
yeah.
right? It's just not smart to go for Bucky if he is full HP and has cooldowns, right? So do you just tend to just shut that down? Then we need to train your instinct, and that is going to slow you down.
Right, and it's getting the consistency because watching my own replays, I see, I just go, oh, that was dumb. Oh, that was dumb. And one of my
Yep.
worst habits is I make the plan, and even if I get the timing with my team right, I go in blind, right? So
Right.
I know the supports are around the corner. I
Yeah.
know my team is now engaging the front line. I'm going to charge Magic's right click, drop, and then go on the supports. Well, I
Yeah.
haven't seen the supports yet. I
Right.
know they're
That's just
there.
it.
I
That's
know
just
they're
it.
there, but
Yeah, yeah. It's hard because like you look at like instinctual play and how good it can be and how good that's really when you're playing your best.
Oh,
But
dude,
then you
when I'm popping off, it feels crazy
right.
because I've never been able to play at this level before. Like I
Right.
said, I had a contenders player and an Overwatch, Grandmaster player just before I started getting coaching with you. And the heck is going on here?
That's fine. You're good.
Um, and an Overwatch Grandmasters player, and pretty soon now I'm getting GM and top 500 in my
Yeah.
quick play games, right?
Yeah.
And you learn a lot about where you're allowed to be and where you're not
Yep.
really quickly,
Yep.
and it
Yep.
gives you. I've always had perspective. My brother was like top 0.5% in Counter Strike, you know, and I've always been, middlingly high, like, top, you know, 30% for or 40, 30, somewhere up there.
Yeah.
But like getting that perspective is wild. So now I see the stuff that I'm doing now. And when I'm on, like you're saying, I'm going against these people that are just cracked out of their mind and I'm competing and I'm like, the hell happened in one
Right.
year? And part of
Right.
that was your feedback, part of it was the experience that I got. And now I look at playing DPS. If I was, doing strange Magneto, maybe I got spicy and tried to do Captain, even though he's a little rough right now, I could probably be way better. But with DPS, I don't have that framework for working
Right.
with that.
Well,
And I go watch the replays, and it's like, wow, if I'd been like 2 seconds later, or if I'd checked where my team was, or if I hadn't gone in blind, that would have been really good.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing I need to, because I can see it in the replay, a lot of it, and be like, okay, mechanic fail, I whiffed, that happens, but also, why did I go around the corner blind like quarter second before the engage actually settled in? So the entire team turned on me and blew me up.
Right. Well, I mean, again, you talk about like the instinct is where you play your best, but ultimately your instinct is always going to have flaws. So then you have to take those instincts and make fine tunes and adjustments and then train them. But that doesn't always feel very satisfying because it does mean you go slower. Like that's just the nature of thinking versus instinct is that you force yourself to slow things down, which means that your general output is worse. Right.
And I've noticed that when I'm fully, like you say in yours, you go in for the first session or two, if you can stand it, only with one thing in mind.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's so funny because I didn't understand what they meant by like lower ranks look like they're playing in slow motion until
Yep.
I got to play with this big group of really casual players. And then I'm like, wow, my idea of playing slow because I have to put thought into it, which is costing me, those decision moments
Yep.
that are one moment too many, like you're talking about, versus what they react to and the speed is just so desperate. It's like I've never had this experience before. It is so wild.
Yep.
My,
Yep.
my skill level literally like tripled because you know the difference between a hard stuck plat and like a middling diamond with a 60% win rate. It just blows my mind.
It's everything, right? People come into my chat and they're like, what's the difference between a platinum diamond player? And I'm like, most of the time, mate, it's everything. Like, they're just better than you in like almost every single skill, right? That's not always the case, but like, being 5% better with this, 5% better with that is like a big deal. I think for you, it's just going to be, no, go ahead.
And I guess in Rivals, one of the interesting things, and this goes back to the, good old Overwatch 1, where because people are flexing, you get more volatility in the matches, even though there's that one other person.
For sure.
So it makes me feel better when I watch like Boger or SK just absolutely get slammed in GM3 in Rivals.
I've also some thoughts on matchmaking as well. I think the matchmaker rewards people. I mean, I did some research on this last week on stream, and it comes to I'm pretty sure that if you grind the game, you'll be a full rank higher than you quote unquote deserve. up until like the very highest strengths.
Yeah.
There's not an infinite skill curve there because eventually you're just going to lose so many more games. But I think like if you're like a gold player and you grind the game, I think that you can get the plat even if you're still technically gold ranked. But yeah,
That's what I'm saying too, and it's possible for those people to slip. And it's really interesting because time of day matters. So I play West
Really?
Coast, and the second 4 o'clock rolls around, when all of the younger people are getting out of school, the match
makes
quality
sense.
goes to hell.
Yeah, makes
It's
sense.
until like 7:30 or 8 p.m.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, I think it's like the end of season thing where like you could technically still win and lose the same amount of games, but the enjoyment of that process is like a completely different like experience because it's like, oh, these games are super volatile, these games are super tilt focused, and like, yeah, I mean, I get it. So
And you're getting all the hot takes. You do the research, you know the community. You're getting all the hot takes that have been solved in Overwatch for years, like
Yep.
off angling and high
Yep.
ground, and oh, it's the healer's fault. As
Yeah.
the tank is standing in the middle of the enemy team, where's my heals? You know, it's,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. It's a throwback, man. There's some nostalgia going on here.
Yeah. Okay. Now, why did you settle on Magik and Psylocke? What about those two characters? 'Cause that is like I'm looking at your tank thing, and we talk about like your skill level and diva and queen and stuff, and like now you're going like these like super flashy, like intense, mechanically focused, and you're doing well. So,
Tracer was my first love. And then
okay.
I picked up the hammer and did my duty for honor and glory afterwards.
Yeah.
But I still always love Tracer.
Okay. And so it's just kind of going back to that mindset of just like fast, flashy, difficult kind of DPS heroes.
Yeah, and I feel that my mechanical skill has increased tremendously, which is
Well, yeah,
fun
practice
because I
makes
feel
perfect.
like I can occasionally perform on those characters. Like Psylocke is very strategic in the value that you pull. I love being flamed because I'm 6 and 6. But both of the supports are pocketing each other, blowing every single cooldown as I'm pestering the
Yeah.
hell out of it until they turn around and I blow one of them up.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Meanwhile, my team is just walking forward for free, but hey, switch off Psylocke. You're 6
Yeah.
and 6, man. What are you doing? You're useless.
Yeah. It's the same thing with Magik, honestly, at times as well. Not exactly a super stat farmer. It could be very high risk, a lot of high deaths, but just like it feels like not quite. This is a really lazy analogy, but like the DPS Doomfist Sombra kind of stat, where it's like I remember when I was playing the rework Sombra to Masters, and like I died a lot. Like there's a lot of volatility, right? Like, but I always got my one, or I would get my one and distract like 3 people for 4 or 5 seconds. And then with Magik, it's like a lot of space creation and a lot of like, you know how it goes. So
Yeah.
okay.
She gets a lot of value. It sounds maybe silly, but Magik is like dancing. You're like butter across the battlefield. You just kind of dance in and out of the battlefield. If you're managing your cooldowns, you end in cover by the time you're done blowing whichever combo of the like 6 that you've tried to do.
Yep. Okay. I'm looking at your notes here. I'm looking at the most recent notes here.
Yeah, the most recent will probably be the most helpful.
All right. How to review VODs effectively. We'll talk about that a little bit once we actually get into the code. How to remove poor habits. I enforce a lot. I mostly stopped doing this in Tank and Overwatch. Again, it's not about what's the difference between an aggressive play and an int. It's, again, the calculation about whether what you did made sense. It's not so much the execution. If you fail the execution, then you just need to do it again until you execute it correctly, right? Like if you see a half HP Luna and you just miss your dash, then sucks. But it was the right play, right?
Was it the right play if Bucky is standing 5 feet from her and I have a 50-50 trade chance at best?
Right.
And
Well,
then
see,
there's
that's
the
the
voices
thing.
where there's like 2 people standing next to her, and that's obviously not a good one, which is
So
the
then
embarrassing part of these replays. It's like, why did I do
Right. If it's a 50-50 at best, then that's not a coin flip, right? That's not a fair coin flip. It kind of goes back to our analogy. If it's less than 50-50, then do it. Now, if it's less than 50-50 because you're not sure that you're good enough to get it off, but you should be, then you should go for it. But if it doesn't make strategical sense, then you shouldn't do it, right? I think it's like one of those things where, like, I'm coaching a bronze Widowmaker in Overwatch. I still want them doing grapple shots when it makes sense, right?
Sure,
They're going to miss every one, but that is something that you should be doing. Eventually, you're going to get it, and, like, it makes strategical sense if you don't need your grapple, but yeah. Okay, worst habits, thoughts on worst habits, the voices, tunnel vision. We kind of talked about that. I look at tunnel vision as just basically untrained instincts, right?
That's an interesting way to put it, and I fully support that definition.
Because you want
When
you
the
want it to be
autopilot kicks in,
instinctual,
it's
right?
just
Like, yeah, you
driving
want
down the wrong lane.
right, exactly. Like when you're playing your best, you want to be playing fully instinctual. You don't want to be like, a lot of the thoughts will be happening like really like instincts, right? And that's what you want. But it's just when you're practicing, you don't want to be playing like that.
I
because
watch back my replays and stuff is happening so fast in my replays that I'm just like,
yeah,
in the moment, I remember taking in all of that information and processing enough of it.
yeah.
You know, granted, I still do the stupid thing at the end of
Right, but you know what
chain of
steps to
decisions.
skip, right? And just make those thoughts quicker,
But
right?
it's wild. It's actually sometimes harder watching my replays in real time than it is just doing it.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, the key thing is just that you are going to have to slow down a facet, right? You're going to have to slow down a facet. If you have a bad or a weak aspect of your gameplay, you do have to kind of slow that down. And again, we talked about it earlier, but you have to embrace the fact that you are going to perform worse at that because you're not allowing yourself to tunnel vision. But then ultimately you do that, and then you let yourself tunnel vision on it again. You see if you've improved, right? It's the same thing as like if you were to practice throwing a baseball. Like you could use your leg, use your leg. You're going to throw badly, bad. And then finally just throw the ball and see what happens. And maybe you'll use your leg a little bit more and it just goes a little further. So timing, I mean, obviously very important with both characters. Positioning, I mean, I look at both the characters as basically having similar ideas of how they position, just different ranges. So deep angle versus taking angle and shooting frontline. Both very viable with both the kits. Magik, obviously, you can control a lot of frontline space off to the side. Like, she's really good at that, even with 250 HP. But if you have the setup, if you have the space for it, if you have the cooldowns, going for a one-shot in backline, obviously great. And obviously a similar thing with Psylocke, the difference just being that you're playing more of the 15 to 20 meter range rather than the 5 to 10. But the same kind of thing. Like you can go frontline, you can go backline. Both are really, really good at that. We'll talk more about that.
Then the identify my job part is it goes into that win condition. Like what? Yeah. Because sometimes killing both supports isn't going to win you the fight, right?
Yeah.
So is it that they're having trouble with last night it was the Star-Lord. And I didn't sit on him because the Star-Lord was getting infinite value just because nobody was sitting on him. It didn't matter if I dove into their team and pulled their entire team's attention. Star-Lord was still blasting my backline. So what is it my job to deal with that? Does that change? Because in tank, I would say, yeah, I need to, that's the guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But as DPS, is my job not that? Because we talked about when you were watching my Diva VOD, do your job better. Don't worry about
that. That's basically
it.
Their own
demon, right? So is he my job? Or...
Quite literally, get it? Magik? Okay, never mind. Yeah, I mean, basically, it's just thinking like the way to look at it is not that you should never care about what your team needs or what you could do for your team. It's just making sure that whatever you do for your team, you stay in your lane. Or you stay in your lane. If you're the skinny twerp trying to help people move, furniture, you should probably stick to the just getting as many chairs out of the house and into the moving van as possible, right? You shouldn't be moving the freaking piano. You get what I'm saying? It's not like we need people like you, right? The skinny twerps, right? This is getting a little personal, but you know what I mean? Like to move those chairs. But
how do you know I'm skinny? I'm 6'1" and built like a 2x4.
Okay, fine. Then you don't move the chairs.
I'm taking this to heart, man. Like you're cutting me, coach. Oh, that's a little close.
But the concept is that you focus on doing what you do best and let other people do what they do best. And it's like if you talk about like a Star-Lord, right? That is a character that is he in space that is convenient and good for you as a Magik, then yes, deal with him. You can deal with him. But if he's flying on high grounds in the open, you're just not really going to be able to deal with him that well with Magik. Like it's just it's going to be
chasing him around enough at some point.
Well, that's the thing is like he can avoid you.
Occupied?
But see, that's the thing is the thing is like is he fully occupied with you? Or is he able to evade you and still apply pressure on backline? Like, remember, it's always the coin flip. am I getting more value than you? Do I have a better chance of forcing more resources than you were forcing? And there's a mindset of like where like service is always good, irrespective of how and who's doing it. Like, let's say I'm playing a Hulk and I'm chasing around the stupid Star-Lord. That's probably just a waste of my time. I'm going to take more damage than I'm going to do to him. He's still probably going to be able to harass supports. It's just dumb. It's not that you should ignore Star-Lord, but for Star-Lord, that would be something that's more along like a Spider-Man. Spider-Man will take care of Star-Lord, or a Bucky or Winter Soldier. If he's around, I can handle him, right? Why? Because it's really efficient for me to deal with him. I hit one shot as a Winter Soldier, and he's in death range, right? I hit one slow and one shot, and he automatically has to basically disengage or die, right? Spider-Man, I can ruin Star-Lord if he gets split too far, right? I hit one web, I pull him in, he's in serious trouble, right? So all of a sudden, it's not like...
Don't even get me started on the BS that is Spider-Man's follow-up off of his sticky.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much unavoidable.
Magik still gets stunned. Dash around a corner 100 yards, still get stunned.
Yeah.
Pray to Bob, still get stunned.
But you know what I'm saying, right? Like it's basically
I know exactly
going,
what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
So it's basically like it's not that you can't help your team. You just got to go. Is this what I'm doing convenient to the problem? So like let's say that you're playing Magik and you're losing the front line trade because you're running solo tank. You're playing. Oh gosh, I don't know. Trying to think of a map where like frontline pressure could be really good. Like I don't know, like the Odyssey, the Fantastic Four map. The Fantastic Four map, first point.
Loki's escort map.
Yeah, sure. That's another one. Yggdrasil, right? I would say first point's a little bit naked, but if you start to get into like I don't know, third point, right, gets a little bit more congested.
Yeah, third point's much better. But first point is rough taking that first bend. There's so much space.
And third point, to get to backline, it can be a little bit inconvenient depending on where the position. So what you might do then is you help, quote unquote, your tank take the front line trade 2v2, not because that's what was needed, but because that was the best expression of value that you can provide with what the map gives you, right?
What's convenient, I believe, is one of your
That's
favorite
it.
sayings.
But it's the thing is like find the position where your character shines and then go from there. Psylocke is the same thing. Psylocke can really help you win frontline trades. If you're able to find a good angle. I was coaching, what's that King of the Hill map where it's Hydra's King of the Hill map? I don't remember.
Oh my gosh, which one, the train car-ish one?
Yeah, I don't remember.
The one that goes up and down,
It's the one that goes up and down. It's the one that goes up and down, yeah. Long story short,
it's interesting, but it's...
Yeah. I was coaching a Psylocke player in that map, and they were playing like Penny Groot, right, the enemy team, and they were running solo tank
Psylocke
Magneto.
on that map is actually kind of...
Yeah,
really
so
good.
she was.
So was Magik, actually.
Right. So there were some angles to go backline, but there was also like this really brutal spam angle onto that front line, and I was like, mate, you can go for assassination here, but I want you like angle. Dumping your clip into that front line, and there was a couple of fights where he did, and Penny just melts. Like it was like they were running quadruple tank. Like Penny was getting her face kicked in, and I'm like, it's not that we recognized that I was running a solo tank. It's just like this is a good position for me, so I'm just gonna shoot from here. Right. And I think like that's the thing is like, again, you're talking about two heroes that they can quote unquote contest flankers. They can kill backline. They can kill frontline. It's not about recognizing what's needed in the moment. It's what does the map provide to me? What can I actually do? Because if you go for like Yggdrasil with Psylocke, first point, it can be a little awkward reaching for backline depending on the situation, depending on how much, because it is a little bit exposed. Like there's not a guaranteed dash out location. But on other maps, it's really easy to go for backline and just dash out, no problem. So I get it. It's just pressure. It's pressure is what it is.
Yeah. I think Rivals map design has kind of gotten a little bit of a bad rap because the more I play it, the more I see what the devs were doing, especially with the right-hand peeking. For offense, there's a lot of good right-hand peaks, but there's not a lot for defense, along with the
interesting.
destructible
Yeah, I never thought about that way,
terrain.
honestly.
Yeah, and if you look at
point.
them, the way that they're set is their staged leapfrog flank. So Overwatch is like 3 lanes.
Yep.
Rivals appears to be one major lane, and then it leapfrog flanks on the sides for every bend. Yggdrasil, the first bend, right?
Yep.
You can go up on the high ground if you're attacking, but there's the flank that you can deepen by the statue.
Yep.
And then you deepen that flank, right? And then there's the health pack flank. And I think that it's deceptively good, especially
could
with
be.
the destructible
I've never thought
terrain.
about it like that. You make a good point. So, okay. that's mostly it for me. Let's take a look at some codes here. So basically, the rest of your questions: how do higher ranked players control obbies to prevent matches from devolving into Staggerfest? They don't. Higher ranked uptime is different. Streamers control the entire pace of the game. Explain or analyze? They don't. They just play better. It's the same kind of question we talked about earlier. Like, what's the difference between a platinum and diamond player? Everything. They're just a little bit better at everything. And when you have like those little details add up, that leads to less staggering. That leads to higher uptime, higher value uptime, right? But don't pursue the end result. Pursue the process that gets you that end result, which is going to be better positioning, better cooldown management, and so on.
Is it the same as when I'm now learning, because I don't like smurfing on people. So when I'm in those games, I'm trying different things.
Yeah.
To see how they interact with the players that I'm with.
Yeah.
And is it kind of the same thing once you get up to like SK, Boger, ML7, kind of they're controlling it just because it's that the skill level is that much desperate?
Yep, that's it. Yeah,
they're even like, Celestial to top 500 or whatever it is. And
yeah, I mean, they're just better. They're just better at everything, right?
I was watching Flats play Captain America, and it was freaking wild. Just his judgment of when he was going in, where he was going, how much he could do, and when he had to get out and go back in. I was blown away. It's like every second he was making the correct decision, and it was so obvious, specifically on Captain America.
Yep.
Just because he got away with absolute murder in like a diamond game. It was like, what?
Yeah. I mean, he's really, really good at it. I mean, these guys play the game all the time, so that's just how it goes. I wouldn't worry as much about it. Pursue your own excellence, and I think being aware of what your weaknesses are is the most important thing, and so maybe that's what
yeah, I'm just wondering if a lot of it is uptime, or if, like what you said, it's just every little thing stacking on top of each other.
It might be uptime. Yeah, it might be uptime.
They're always doing something. A lot of my time is like, improving positioning, but does that mean I'm, flank maxing?
Right. Maybe you're looking for
angle maxing over here.
Well, right. Well, it's still the angle, but like, should you be flanking here, or should you just be taking frontline trades? Right. That's going to take less time to set up.
Penny Parker, do you spend the extra 3 or 4 seconds getting deeper, or is shooting Penny in the face just as good a value, if not better?
That's pretty much it. Okay, let's which code do you want to look at here? We can
Let me check the notes on them that I sent you.
Yeah.
I think the first one there, the 1992, is going to be pretty evocative of what my core problems are.
Got it. Okay.
And then it devolves into the other problem, which is maintaining control with that.
Second here. Okay.
Judgment, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. You said this is
when someone's
both heroes
flanking past and whatnot, right?
Yeah. Okay, so let me see. Magik.
I think I switched to Psylocke for
Magik, and then a little bit of Psylocke towards the end. Okay, sounds good. Let's take a look here.
Oh, and if you didn't know, M as in Magneto puts you in quote-unquote director mode, and it'll make your camera much faster if you push the shift key.
So if I do this,
yeah, and then you hit M.
Must have a key bound to something else because it's not working.
Tilde will bring up the help menu, or it should pop up a little thing.
Wait, what button is it?
Tilde, next to your 1 key.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so
enable director mode M. So yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, so you can do M, and then you can do what is it? Period to increase speed.
I'm looking for enable director mode here. Hang on. Oh, okay, I see it. But that's weird. It's not working on my end. I'm like mashing the button here.
Huh. Yeah, when you get it finished, it drastically increases your ability to move your camera.
I'm gonna take a note here and whoops.
When it's enabled, it'll actually highlight that. That menu, and then you can increase camera speed and stuff. It's like a lifesaver because the flying camera is so slow if it's not in director mode.
I forget how laggy the replay viewer makes my computer. Notepad, enable director mode. Yeah, for whatever reason, the the M isn't working for me, but I didn't know about that, so I'll look into it more. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I figured that'd be helpful.
yeah, thank you for that. Big thing with Magic is just getting your combos correct, knowing which one. I mean, there's the two combos. It's like either slash combo or your AoE combo, which is basically, and this is more for viewers' benefit, but slash into your dash into your primary fire, right? And then in situations when you don't have time to charge up your slash and you just want to kind of immediately go for the combo, or maybe you don't even have slash, right? You do your teleport, you do your AoE, and then you cancel the AoE into your dash into the swing afterwards. So that one's a little bit faster.
250,
yeah,
it's dash into slash melee, quick melee, right click, full melee.
Yeah, so it's basically the big difference between the slash combo versus the TP combo is the slash combo technically does more damage, but you do have to charge it up, right? Like you do need to charge up your alt fire, which is not always something you want to do. So the big thing with positioning with this character is just what space does the map give me, right? And again, it's kind of like goes back to our pressure conversation. It's like, do I want to be playing frontline here because I like this room over here, or do I want to be playing this angle here, or do I want to be starting here? I think if you're given the choice, you might as well always go for backline unless it's contested. So I think starting here makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm starting here to contest anyone that's coming up.
Yeah, makes total sense. Yeah, let me turn up the audio.
With a Thor tank, it would be kind of hard to control that front without getting liquefied.
Makes sense. So I'm just gonna start calling out little details as I see them. Like for example, you preemptively TP here, which is fine, but probably could have greeted your demon rage there just like a half a second later, just in case you did push. So just use that grace period as long as you possibly can. And then we get really down in the weeds here. So this is one of those moments where you're going to go for the combo unfully charged just because you see the opportunity. I get it. So slash, you're going to dash. She moves, which means that you don't quite hit the dash here. So this is probably like, obviously, to crosshair placement. You want to be leaning to the right because you miss it entirely.
You literally can put them between your crosshair and Magik to hit your charge. That's how off it is. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. I gotta aim so far to the right. Okay. Good. Fine, favorable HP trade. You don't need to really overthink that. The way I look at this kind of a trade here is if you are playing your cover well and playing around your CDs well, if you're utilizing full demon, then in theory you should be winning this HP trade, be forcing more resources than you take. I mean, you kind of look at his HP and you kind of see what I'm saying. The problem is when you get something like this and you don't quite hit the demon that you like here, that's when you need to be a little bit more responsive and disengaging just a little bit faster, because then all of a sudden now he's winning the HP trade.
F up, so he does a metric truckload of damage when he puts that up.
Right, and like even here, right? Like once you're here, again, this is an angle that's probably totally fine. You are down one here,
right?
But I would be very cautious about taking this engagement, even though he doesn't have his F up anymore. You don't have a demon here. You're not going to win this trade without the demon. So I don't see, there's just no benefit to you taking that trade there.
So this is trying to hold the space.
Right,
but we lost our tank earlier, and I can fight him a little bit.
Yeah, but this is the difference between holding space and pushing space is this right here.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of those things I was talking to you about. It's like pushing W here was probably the mistake. Would you agree?
Yep, agreed.
Just
100%.
playing that corner would
play the corner.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
You nailed it. Yeah.
You're gonna notice I do this a lot, and this torques me. Like
it's just basically pursuing general pressure when it doesn't make a lot of sense. I see this with Reinhardt's a lot, right? Like, do you have abilities or HP? If the answer is no, then simply hold the space. Okay. Don't press W. And then as soon as you do have your abilities, instead of using them to disengage because you overextended, you could have gone for a combo here. Right, but it's too late now, right? So it's like you pursued pressure when you didn't have your demon, when you didn't have HP. So now you had to disengage as soon as you got cooldowns, and now you're not in a position to do anything.
Yeah. So in addition to pushing W a little hard there, I didn't realize how hard my backline fell back there. I was
I mean,
pretty
it
surprised
doesn't.
when I saw him through the
Yeah,
wall.
yeah. I mean, either way, it doesn't matter. Like you were already down one at that point as well, so there's always going to be some sort of disengagement.
This is moving for cart stall, is what this is.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not it's a good idea, it's probably a terrible idea in hindsight.
Well,
but
I think it's the combo here. I mean, I think you're trying to go for touch here, but I think whenever you have time here, I think you should always go for your slash combo here.
yeah, and that's what happens. I think I go for the storm.
Right. So, well, the thing is you're going for, I'll call it the AoE combo, which is you're going to go for I assume you're going to go for your big swirl into your animation cancel with your dash, which is your E, and then your primary fire. But you have time, you had time here to charge your alt fire instead. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
So you can save both of your teleports for when you touch cart, and that's going to buy you a lot more cart touching process. So there's your combo. Again, you're aiming just a little too far to the left, which means you don't quite get the combo that you want. Other than that,
this is inting. That's inting. As soon as I went over.
Yeah, well, it's inting. It's inting, kind of, sort of, but also I'm fully expecting you to TP here, right? Just drop another demon. So you're just too slow. That's all. It's just too slow. Yeah.
Got doinked by Hela.
Yeah. Just like go in, expect the pressure, drop a demon, go back to cover, drop a demon, get back to cover, drop a demon, get back to cover, rinse and repeat, right? Like it's crazy how much full charge you could just generate off of that.
That demon is like wild. It does 300 damage. I think after 3 ticks, it does more than a slash.
Mm-hmm. Good. Drop another demon. Correct me if I'm wrong as well, but I think the alternate fire is an animation cancel. You could just tap if you want to.
It is.
So like you could just swing alt fire here on like whatever's close. You just might as well.
Yeah, the proper animation cancel there, I believe, is going to be swing, quick melee, right click, because
Gotcha.
quick melee instantly, or right click animation cancels your quick melee actually. And then by that time, your main swing recovery is
correct.
Instantly swing your main swing after.
Yeah, and if
quick melee cancer.
Correct, and I believe that the quick melee, does it slow down your swing speed? Just swing melee.
It's like a flat
it's like
DPS
strange.
gain.
Yeah, it's like strange.
Yeah,
Okay, makes sense.
It's just a DPS gain. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Obviously, you can't always hit it, but yeah. All right, let's see here. So again, this is where you really have to kind of look at what the map provides to you and where you want to be taking this engagement. So with where your team is, you can frontline trade, and that's not destructible. You could, in theory, frontline trade here if this is where the fight's going to be going. You could also set up your dash here. Like, I look at this composition, I don't see a lot of mobility. So you could absolutely take the stage here and set up your combo here. Heck, you could even play your combo slowly here and just see what happens here. But this is kind of like where, you kind of have to play the map rather than worrying as much. See, like, this is kind of what we want here. Like, you can get support here. This Thor is pushing into you, and this is what we want. You see, like, how stupid this Thor looks now? Like, I actually think here you didn't even need to dash away. Why?
Just swing on him and get easy value.
Right. You're holding the corner. He's walking into you. You have HP. You have cooldowns. You're cooking here.
Yeah, I think that was me trying to go for the bigger damage, but that's
yeah. I want to see, though, like, we're missing a lot of dashes. This might just be, like, the day it happens.
Yeah, it's mostly just the day.
Yeah, like, okay, fair enough. That crosshair is consistently too far left. Like, I mean, it makes sense, right? But I will say it's consistently too far left. Okay, so I'm expecting we're going for the swirl combo here. Again, I do think you have the option here to go for the all-fire combo here. Like, you could charge behind the stairs. This Thor is not, like, a huge problem for you right now. You could sit on the staircase, charge that all-fire, and go for it. Oh, you're not even doing that. You're going for Thor. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep him on. Then this goes into what's my job, right? So is occupying the half-health tank.
Okay, so let's focus more on the CD side of things, because I was wrong. I made a big mistake here. So I'm talking about, like, which combo you're going for, but I'm stupid because you don't have your E yet. So this is your job. This is a good angle. This is good cover. This is close proximity. This is what you want. And when you get your E back and you see a window, that becomes your job.
Okay.
Especially with you having Dark Child here, right? But for right now, you might as well just blow a teleport here to make sure this Thor loses the angle. You win the HP trade. Heck, he might even die here.
No, he gets. Oh wait.
Yeah. He's cooking. You're cooking here.
I should have hit that right click.
I mean,
it was a day. This was one of the ones.
It's a day. It's a day, but look at the HP trade still, right? Like this is not an even trade. Like it's not a 1-for-1 because look at his support. I don't know if you can see Invisible Woman's hitbox through the wall there. She's turning around, right? So she's healing Thor, and then also it's a 1-for-1. Your angle's cleared, and their supports are turning around.
And Hela's won now.
Yeah. And you the best part about it is because you won the 1v1, now your setup for going for a backline combo is free.
So I got more value out of working with him than I originally thought.
Correct. Because now going for the combo and backline is easier than it was just ignoring the Thor in your angle. Like you win the 1v1, you force support attention, and then you then go kill those supports. So like right now, I want to see alt fire, E, etc. Right. Maybe you don't need it, but like that would be immediately like as soon as I see Thor leave here now, and I have my cooldowns, I'm already thinking about alt fire.
I actually checked what I was diving into before I started.
Yeah, you sure did. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, that was good.
That's very uncommon.
Yeah, that was good fundamentals, right? You played for the space that you wanted. You got contested. You won the 1v1, even though it was mechanically kind of messy, and that's it.
I think people are undervaluing high ground, and I think it's kind of funny because sometimes standing on there like this, just doing whatever chip damage I'm trying to do, like encourages other people to take it.
Yeah. Well,
so then you have to fight for it.
Yeah. Well, again, it's not so much the fact that it's high ground, which is like that is true, but it's also just like this is like kind of a small little area here. This is what you want when you're playing Magic, right?
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
That's all that matters, right? Like you can hide. Really, the value of the high ground is the fact that you can hide right here. Like look at the cover that you have right now. This is the value of high ground. Little detail here. So this is this is one of those unpunished errors. I would not be charging my alt fire here because you're in a position, in a situation where pretty soon you might want to go for a combo.
On somebody that's not Thor.
On somebody that's not Thor, right. So if you were actively fighting Thor, sure. But this Thor, I would instead be thinking,
Yeah, we've been throwing down, so I was kind of, I guess maybe he didn't see me, which is
it's not a terrible mistake, but it's something to kind of consider here. Yeah, and see, this is where you're now locking onto targets, but this Thor's, he's kind of given up, right? Like, he's not even looking at you right now.
Right.
So, you know what? You just sit here. This is maybe when I think there's a pretty good...
I was chasing the Magik more than the Thor.
Interesting. Okay.
She must have dove straight down.
Yeah.
Because that was a 180.
I mean, that's a good snipe. We'll take those. But I guess my concern is that, like, if we're having Darkchild and we have the positional advantage, or we did,
man, it would have been just better to just drop right on.
Right, just so much better here. Exactly. And now, like, look at where we're popping Darkchild from, right? It sucks.
And this goes into my job, right? So, like, do I peel the Magik from trying to combo my team and the Thor also?
Correct.
In hindsight, I don't know if I do. Not with
right. Well, okay, so
legit delete somebody.
Sure, I mean that's just it, right? The situation demands that I have the abilities and the cooldowns for going for backline, so then I should prioritize that. If I'm being actively contested by the Thor and the Magik, then I'll take the fight. But if not, I'll just fight for the space that I have. That's all you need to do is take the angle and do what you can from that angle. But yeah, you had Darkshot, go for backline. And so now it's like because of your position.
This is int maxing right here.
It's int maxing. It's int maxing, yes. But also, this is so much harder than it needs to be because look at where the frick you are.
I could have dashed up at least and then Darkchilded, so I'm not literally walking into them.
You could have
dash up to high ground,
but
and
this
then,
is
get to where I should have been in the first place.
Exactly, and that's just it, right? Like we're just in the worst possible spot. Because it feels really bad to go. I mean, I definitely think that I think you should have committed here, right? Like you just alt fire, don't even fully charge it, just go bam bam, and immediately go into your portal into demon, right? So, but yeah, you needed to go.
I was spending too much time evaluating where I was going, and Hilla decided to let me know that I'm not allowed to do that.
So we've said two things. One, we've said you need to be better with scouting before you commit. You've even said that yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you scout. And during that, like, quote unquote, we'll call it hesitation, slowing things down, the thing that we talked about earlier, you get punished. Okay? So that's a bummer. Oh, well, okay. I don't think the hesitation was the mistake. I think the fact that you
that led to the hesitation.
Right. I think where you
made
hesitated.
The decision really hard.
Right. I think where you hesitated was a problem. Because if we think about it this way, if you had scouted first with your Dark Child, but you had done it from here,
it's easy. It's
here, right?
Estate,
then you're allowed to take that extra second to evaluate what you need to do before you go in. So I think the problem here is that we can look at the result, which was you stood in the open and got doinked. Oh, I should have done that. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I kill at least one regardless of...
Right. I agree. And I want you to be okay with slowing things down if that's something that you need to practice when it comes to scouting, right? I don't want it to be like, oh, you went too slow. That was bad. Well, maybe that's what you need to force a little bit, you know? By this is where you peel, obviously, because, you know, you're here.
Yeah. We fight those.
Unfortunate timing.
I think I had my eyes on the left of the screen as she came in on my right, so
I think she just iframed. She might have just iframed you, to be honest with you.
No, she right now. I should have already locked onto her, and I was
I see what you're saying. Well, I meant like there, but yeah.
Then we do magic duels, which is a bunch of teleporting and who stands and who's demon.
And this is the kind of angle that we want, right? So is it front line or is it back line? It doesn't matter. It's off to the side. It's got cover. There we go.
So was that good? Because that was risky.
This here?
Yeah. Because she just used her E, so I'm guaranteed to take like 100 damage just walking up to her. I don't really know if I knew exactly who was on the left.
Let me be honest with you. If you watched a Grandmaster Magik see a 2/3 HP storm and you've got full cooldowns, full HP coming in from a short off angle, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it, right? If you fail this kill, skill issue, right? Skill issue. Like I don't look at this and be like, oh, this is a mistake. No, it's perfect. You charged your alt fire from cover. You had your combo. You even had an escape route with your teleport. Fine. Yes.
Yeah, Hella almost took my face off.
I mean, but who cares, right? Like, Hella can take your face off for all she wants. Like, even if you've gone 1-for-1 there, it's still worth, right? Like, I don't know. Like, that's one of those moments where it's not even a coin flip, right? It's a 75-80% chance that works out. You need to take that.
My cooldown wasn't up. I was like, oh yeah, now I gotta walk. What a chump. Walk. Space, where do you need to be? What part of the map feels Probably
good?
High ground again.
High ground again, right?
There is a health pack like just to my left, but that just feels terrible.
Yeah, and now you're screwed, right? Now it's like
I'm stuck in open space.
Now I'm stuck in open space.
Derp. I have to use a cooldown to cross open space.
And then honestly, you really just need to E top. It feels bad now because like I need it for my combo, but you got to do it now because you're not going to be in a position to do a combo here. Okay, this is fine. Or you could just walk, that's also fine. Okay. Once again, it's probably
I find
Thor
myself
time.
In this position.
But this is okay. This is going to be a check on your execution of your teleports and your iframes and all that kind of stuff, but this is what we want. You have cover, you have support LOS, this Thor is going to be walking in the open, take the 1v1. It's fine. You guys are down one here, but that was good. Like, really, that's honest. That's I almost said honest Overwatch. That's honest rivals right there. It's honest rivals. Like, you had an angle. If you had tried to ignore this Thor and go for backline, you would have died. He would have killed you. So, you deal with a threat. You confront the threat. You swing. You portal. Maybe a little slow in the portal there. So this is where, like, iframes are your friend, right? So, like, you see him starting to charge up his Mjolnir. Like, you need to fade this right now. I mean, that saves you 50 damage right there. You're cooking.
Oh, I think I was late on it because the ability read it out.
Yeah,
I think that I pushed it.
It happens.
Thor boop overrides everything but Bucky and Thor, and they fall down just like two Reinhardts. Yep.
I mean, it's tough, but it's just like, to me, this is more about, or less about whether you should have taken the 1v1 and more about how you took the 1v1. You're never going to, like, kill this guy, but you should win the HP trade if you fade that, and then you get outside of his slow a little bit faster so he gets one fewer swing. Like, let's put it this way. A GM2 Magik here would have 250 HP, right? And Thor would be, a little bit lower than where he is right now. And you're even playing around his F really nicely, right? So that means that now you're more likely to be able to take this angle. And you're going, oh, should I have gone back on the angle? Well, I sure as heck don't want to go here, right? This is no good. This sucks. So yeah, go right back. This is good. And now,
do I go in here becomes the question. I think you see me strafing here. Do you see the hesitation? I'm not sure if I go in or go to the back.
It's really simple. What is your effective range here? If you could combo anything, can you combo anything that's not a tank from this current position right now?
Hella maybe if Thor
maybe, right? Feels awkward, right? Feels really awkward. Okay, so then this position...
Magic, not Hela.
Yeah, but this position feels like maybe I can get Magic. That's pretty much it. So I either combo Magic or I keep rotating.
Okay. So this wouldn't be a waste of time to wait. I just have a...
Well, you can't reach anything, right?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So this is when you set up, you either deepen your angle and just play your life here, or that's it. Like, this position is just really awkward. Like, you can't reach anything. So
this ramp is like turbo cancer in this map. More games end on this ramp than...
Oh, yeah, it's a really rough spot, right? Now,
especially if there's a squirrel girl. That's fun.
Oh, jeez, yeah, I hate squirrel girl. Okay, so for here, you could go... I can go for my... you could go for your portal animation cancel here, your AoE here, just based off of the fact that the magic is there. That would be fine. Or you can rotate. Your choice.
I think a portal to the left and then...
Yeah, so use slash.
I should do that back line.
Yeah, so this is just like not being quick enough, not being calm enough. Like, I see magic here, I'm already portaling.
Sure.
Right, shift, what is it? Primary fire for the AoE slash, or is it all fire? I can't remember which one's the demon. Anyway, whatever.
Alt fire, right?
Alt fire. So you
demon ends the animation lock faster.
Yeah. So alt fire. So you portal, you AoE, you cancel into E, you get your extra 45 damage. Your extra 45 damage here. I mean, I'm gonna predict that she's dead. Yeah, she's dead. Right?
Mm-hmm.
She's dead. If you get the combo right here, she's dead. What you did was bad. Or excuse me, what you did was good. How you did it was bad. That's kind of the key takeaway here.
If anything, I should have at least even dropped the demon there, because if it hits two people, I get
yeah.
shields, and then
exactly.
They can't fight me on the front.
Exactly,
and
but
it's a shield.
Yeah, but you saw combo. You missed combo. That's it. You just did your slash without doing your dash. Like, that should be a kill. That's all there is to it. Yep. This probably will be an alt fire charge. I think you're rushing things just a little bit. Whenever you have corner here, probably go into the alt fire here. So anytime you could charge up alt fire, I'd literally prefer you to wait an extra 1.5 seconds before you go.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
My intent here was to occupy the back line as
we're gonna do that. But why do that when you can have a free charge alt fire if you wait 1 extra second?
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Then you have both portals. So you go for your alt fire combo here. Then you portal once, you demon, you portal again, you demon.
So does the DPS matter more to you than the burst? Because I think you need to charge like 60% to equal a sword swing.
I am more focused on the burst here right now, and also noticing the fact that, like, just opening with alt fire just feels so freaking good, because then
it does.
You don't have to worry about animation canceling alt fire in the middle of the fight. That becomes a lot messier, right? So here, just because they don't know you're there, because you have the perfect opener. Like, think about it this way: if you could have the perfect opener for every combo, you would almost always go for your alt fire. Almost always, right? So when you get the perfect opener, you need to be opening with alt fire.
Especially if they're this close, like missing it would be like almost impossible. It is the size of the train.
Yeah, so like this is like one of those moments where it's like you're just you're making the right decision to contest card and throw your demons out, but there's just no teeth to this at all. There's just no teeth. Like this should be like not just, oh, I'm contesting 2 or 3 people. This should be, I'm killing 2 or 3 people.
And I think it also goes into the decision of, do I contest the magic or do I actually go
right.
Because you can mess up an ultimate magic as magic just because you can dodge it and then do a ton of damage to her.
So, like, again, to be very clear what I'm asking for, I'm literally asking for you maybe to consider charge, maybe just wait until you get your dash. Like, don't do anything for a few seconds. Like, straight up. Until you get your dash back, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
Like, you might as well. Like, I think this is not a bad decision.
I missed this auto attack right there because I canceled it too early.
That was a melee animation cancel. I know that one's hard to notice in the moment, but I think you kill her just a tad bit faster. It's fine.
And I intentionally dashed on the wall there to shorten it.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, let's keep going here. With where we're at time-wise, I think it would be best if we just kept focusing on Magik, but if you really want to look at Psylocke, we can. I don't mind running a few minutes over.
Let me see let me think what happens in this, in the Psylocke
Sure.
just real quick. Let's jump to the Psylocke, because nothing else
Sure.
happens on Magik in this.
Okay,
That's
okay.
going to be
Key
more
takeaways for
unique
me.
than what's going on, I think.
Key takeaways for me. Focus on your position, whether that angle allows you for backline or frontline or whatever. If you get contested, win the 1v1 or survive the 2v1 or take a favorable resource trade, period, right? When you're deciding about whether you're going to just go for the combo, go for backline, or just kind of control space, are you being contested, right? But the other thing is just, hey, I have the cooldowns. I have the position. Go for it. Have confidence.
Okay.
Right? I mean, there's definitely been some micro here about when should you go for alt fire, when should you go for the portal cancel, right? Like the portal cancel is just way more responsive, right? But the alt fire is way better if you have the time to charge it up, right? That's kind of like the key takeaway for me for you to be able to do that. And I think in general, like your scouting leading into engages is a perfectly fine skill to practice, just as long as you're doing it from an angle that provides you that cover. So if you ever die doing that, ask yourself, was I in a good position to do that? If the answer is yes, then it's okay. It happens. Go next.
So I think that's getting into actually kind of crystallizing one of the issues, which is thinking on it. I think I have better engagements when I have better positioning. I know that sounds
Correct.
really dumb.
No, but it is. It is. I mean,
But,
it
like,
doesn't matter what rank you
really
are. A lot of it comes down to
solidifying
simple. Yeah.
Yeah, like really solidifying it. What's the position I need to take?
Correct.
And that sounds like a little stupid because that's like super basic.
Yeah, but I mean, I've coached a lot of high level rivals and Overwatch, and that's generally what it comes down to. So, same thing with this character, really. Like when you have your abilities, you are more likely to have freedom to go for more aggressive plays, but also the position kind of dictates your engagements, not the other way around. So, for example, like right now, there's nothing wrong with you taking an HP trade in this Thor. He's on your angle. You can easily poke him out. So win the HP trade. If you're able to clear him comfortably, then go for backline. Now, I will say with Psylocke, there's like at a big asterisk. With Magik, the inherent limited range of your kit means that you're not able to choose your engagements as much, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? However, because you have stealth, you can sometimes just ignore this.
Right.
You can sometimes just ignore
think
this.
it was my plan here, which goes well, I think, is to occupy his attention as
Sure.
my team is pushing in, and then you're going to
Yeah.
notice I'd take a heavy trade, but I know where the health pack is, and I
Yeah.
don't think
Well,
he
that's
can
it. That's it.
catch-
You know your
catch me.
limitations. I do think I can't believe I'm saying this. My Overwatch brain is crying out in agony, but I do think target parity is a bit of a thing with Psylocke too. Like I look at
It
their
is, yeah.
composition, and I don't see like any easy one-shot characters outside of maybe Punisher if he's in turret, right? So like, you know, Cloak can be a bit of a mixed bag. Everything there is not going to be like, oh, just instantly one-shot them, right? There's no Moon Knight. There's no like AFK Jeff mentally. You know, there's no Black
Like,
Widow.
watching SK, she is not always off angle maxing. She's actually often doing a soft off angle
Right.
with her team, just shooting whatever's
Tank.
closest.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that is
Just
angle maxing.
uptime.
Yeah, you have incredible poke, and you're much more flexible with your range compared to Magik. But yeah, I look at this combo and I'm like, yeah, just take a HP trade on this tank, honestly. Just shoot and alt fire as quickly as you can.
You can fight Storm like as Magik or as Psylocke, just as long as she doesn't have her E up. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you just get barbecued in 2 shots.
Yeah. See, the one thing of my concern here is that you got to really look at yourself in the mirror in these matchups. So you hit the alt fire, but you need to be hitting more shots than this guy. You need to be hitting
Right.
more shots than this guy. And then even beyond that, you
I
really need
whiffed
to be
the alt fire actually. I
right.
think.
Yeah, right. So you need to be hitting more shots. You need to be dashing a little bit sooner. I would, if you have your stealth.
That's
I
the
would,
processing too. Like I was making the plan of going to the health pack and messing with him.
Yeah, it happens. It
Yeah,
happens. This is just
yeah.
straight mechanics, right? Like I look at this and I'm like, hey, if you use your dashes correctly, if you hit your fire, then I don't think that this guy should be able to get out with 2/3 HP. This should be half HP or less. But the idea of what you're doing is fine. You get cleared out. He won the engagement. Now you got to ask yourself, okay, so where's my next angle here, right? So can I go left? I don't know if this section of the wall is destructible.
No, it's not, but you can go left through the little doorway.
Right, so you keep deepening, and then this may be like the choice. Like, we don't look at this as like an optimal flank situation versus the comp, but that's what the map provides. So it's either that or you go deal with Thor.
Is that too long of a rotation from where I'm standing? This is like the type of rotation that I'm talking about, whereas like, do I do that right now, or do I just spam this? Because
if the angle is good for spam, then just spam. And I think it was okay.
Yeah. Well, this becomes really good because Thor decides to zone everybody out anyways.
I mean, this is okay.
I got caught in the slow.
Yeah, I mean, you greeted yourself.
That I could have.
You greeted yourself, that's all. One little detail with the dash, when you're looking for distance, make sure you're dashing up just a little bit.
Yep. So you don't get laser beamed by spam?
Pretty much. Well, also, you from my understanding, you conserve a bit of momentum. So, like, if you look at this here, you dash straight on the floor. But if you angle, like, I think, like 15, 20 degrees, not straight up, because it's too slow. But if you angle, like 50...
test that now.
Yeah, you might want to go test that out. From what I understand with rollouts and disengagements, like, you go just a teeny bit further if you dash just a little bit off the ground.
In Rivals, it's not a lot, but it might be something.
It might not. It might not, but that would be something to test.
That was one of the weirdest things about Rivals, is how you don't keep as much momentum as you do in Overwatch. Like Thor, hammer twirl, and
he just dies.
You know?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Stops. It feels so bad.
Yeah. Good. I mean, obviously, there's not a lot you can do here, so poke him out, poke him out, poke him out. Okay. And then from here, I would say you could start to think about, like, I know you're building ult here, but you could also start to think about, like, hey, I want to get staged for this fight for when it happens.
So is this even useful? Like,
For ult charge, yes. For actual pressure, no.
I think I got, like, 3% ult charge.
So then rotate.
Spam.
So then rotate.
Okay.
So then rotate and set up your backline engaged, right? Because we talked about, like, okay, the map, the position, it allows for you to stage for free. I mean, honestly, it allows you for you to stage without your stealth, which is really nice. You got all the time in the world.
I think the intent there was uptime, because I know I have a lot of rotational downtime like this, but when the shooting's already starting, I think would be bad. Like,
but remember, it's downtime when nothing's happening anyway.
No, yes, exactly. Before this, I think historically why I was trying to shoot people there is because I find myself rotating after the engagement. So
that's it.
Where
that's it. Right.
Invisible Woman is now.
Yes.
That would be too late to go on this flank, I think. I'm not
correct.
Is that
you're
correct?
Thinking about you're thinking about it the right way. I mean, I don't know if it's always as black and white as that, but you're definitely asking the right questions.
It is often that black and white, which is why it's why I was shooting there. It's top of my mind.
Sure.
Is this too late?
I think the interesting thing here is always, like, this is why map knowledge about where the fight's happening is so important, because I think in hindsight here, if you'd had time, this high ground makes a lot more sense because it's what allows you to have a better sight line onto backline or front line or whatever. Yeah,
so
I mean,
remember I said about the map design part of this? If you look where I'm standing, there's a health pack directly behind me, and I whiffed it on the 180.
Yeah, again, it's like...
Yeah, I think I go into the building and fight him instead of inting into their team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good play from him. He's done a good job marking your angles, but it's going to be like one of those things where it's like, okay, then if he's going to mark your angle, you need to take his head off. Like, he needs to lose a lot of HP here. So I don't know if you hit the all fire here. Let me see. Yeah, you missed. Frick. Okay, so the all fire has to hit.
Something I've been working on in the training range.
What you might want to look at it. Okay, so this is the way to look at it, right? If you miss your uppercut with Magik, you're done. You just disengage. You portal out. Try again.
Right.
So if you miss your all fire here, you're not winning this HP trade anymore. So what should you do?
Probably dash through him. I think I get to dash through him at this point, and then I just end up next to the other health pack on the upper side or the lower side.
Just dash out and take a different angle. Like, GG's go next. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of like that. Like, you've lost the 1v1 essentially. So then just reset and try again.
I think it's just panic what happens immediately after, and I'm pretty sure.
I understand
from the video game.
But maybe that's something that, like, both you can consider with Magik and with this character. Is like, if you take an angle and you mess up your cooldowns, don't sunk cost it, right? I see this with Black Panthers. I see this with Spider-Mans a lot too. Like, don't keep pressuring for the sake of pressuring because now you're at a disadvantage that you don't want to play that game anymore. Restart and try again. like mulligan. You got what I'm saying?
I think these are the things that I'm aware of, and it's the strategies to prevent this. This is, to me, that right there, that was a huge no-no, because if they were spamming that choke, I'm running straight at their team and I die.
Yeah. Well, right. Well, the reason that you ended up there is because you panicked. You disengaged too slow from the Thor 1v1. So you blew both your dashes and your stealth and didn't really get anywhere. That's the problem, right? So, you missed your alt fire, which puts you in a bad hole, but like, let's be honest, it doesn't matter how good you are at the game. You're going to have missed alt fire, right? It's going to happen. Right. So you just need to go, okay, well, I'm not going to win this 1v1 anymore. So if I'm getting pressured, I'm going to play to disengage, play to live, and try again. As opposed to now where it's like, it feels like things have just really snowballed.
Tried to dash up into the cubby to safety, but I don't know if I made it.
But even here, it's like, man, you are really just in the open. Like, you are just smack dab in the open.
No, and
like
this is exactly what I'm talking about. I end up tunneling.
Yeah. I think this is what I want to see.
She was in kill range, I think, and I just...
Right.
It was still terrible. I die immediately after that, no matter what happens.
Right. So it's basically...
Low percentage chance that does anything useful.
Sure. So when your angle fails, when the play fails, whether through your own positional hubris or you just miss your shots, reset, ask where I need to be, and do it again. Reset, where do I need to be, do it again. Over and over and over. So for your cycles. I mean, that's really what all Psylocke, and to a lesser extent, I mean, really actually the same thing with Magik is, right? You take an angle, whether it's on front lane or back lane, and you go for your cooldown pressure. And if you get pressured, you try a different angle. And you try a different angle. You try a different angle. Like here, it's like you needed a moment to kind of reevaluate, really right here, right? And you need to be like, all right, you know what? This position's not too bad. Maybe I just keep spamming here, right? Oh, I'm being pressured, so I need to get out. Okay, so now where do I go? Where's the next step now? I don't want to be on card.
I should go into the right because I have absolutely no cooldowns.
Just walk into here, right? Heck, you could even dash over here and sit over here and just poke them from distance here. Like, you just don't want to be in melee range, right? And you don't want to be on card, right? It's okay. It's not an optimal angle, but you're fine. Like, you can rotate left, you can rotate right. You can choose. Just don't be card. Okay. Let's watch one more fight here. We're going to go ahead and set up for our angle. I think we're going to be on time here. We are. We're stealthing in. Sure. I mean, it's going to get support ulted immediately, but you did the dash tech so that this will always be a safe cast. So, sure.
Yeah, I find getting support outs with Psylocke is probably the most reliable thing you can do.
I agree.
There's just so many things. Like, they panic a lot still. You might get 2 out if you're really lucky, but it's either that or Storm dies, right?
Yep, agreed. Only thing I would say is just make sure that you know where you're going to end up after the ult here. You're going to have 2 dashes, so, like, where am I going to go?
I play a lot of Storm, and that was beaten into me very early before she had her 8 million shields in her ult.
Yeah. Nice. Good angle here. You still got your stealth, so you could just keep poking. Good angle. And this is the kind of angle stuff we're talking about, right? You greed for the kill. Ooh, nice. Good stuff. No, this is good.
Strange got it. I whiffed.
Well, I mean, it's good. That's good. I mean, the angles that you're doing here, like you have your CDs, you take an angle, you poke tank, you see an opportunity to commit, you commit.
This is dangerous because I don't have dash. She could really mess me up there and then stand.
Yeah, I mean, it's risk versus reward. Right now, you need to be thinking about where's my next step, though. And I think this is where you want to keep poking here, but you also need to be thinking, okay, so where's my angle here? Like, we're here. I probably should start, right, you should start
just below it, too.
Right, so you should start
also,
migrating.
Jeff can spit off into that pit. That's a death pit on the left.
Oh, really?
Yep. That's
Interesting.
It's a deeper one than a lot of them, but yeah.
Yeah, so this one here, this is probably the angle with where you are right now, right? But it's kind of like those mid-fight evaluations. I don't want to be in the middle here. Dash out. I would literally rather you commit your dash cooldown to a better angle than save your cooldown until you get pushed.
Oh, I do go up there, just late.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, alt fire huge here. Yes, good stuff. You lose the cooldown trade, you immediately disengage. Grab the health pack, go back.
I'm farming ult, I'm a little close for it, but...
Good. It's a really good ult. Get off of cart, find your angle. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
you're like, I must do damage, but you are so freaking fragile right now. I know.
I don't know if yeah, I know it's not my job to be on the damn cart.
You got to find, you got your stealth
C9
up.
needs hurt so bad.
I know. I legit here, I think I pop my stealth, I grab health back, and I just go sit here and just AFK and
something juicy.
Yeah, just poke. Like, again, it's not poking Thor, it's the problem. It's like where you're poking Thor, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like there's that fear of like, I have to do something right now, but I don't think you have to. Not at the expense of your life. It's not worth it. Because remember, you're choosing uptime now at the expense of uptime for the next 20 seconds.
Right, absolutely.
That's kind of what you're thinking. Now, there's always exceptions to that rule, but okay. So with Psylocke, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking prioritize what angle that you want to play, whether that's poking backline or frontline, and then when you fail those combos, if you fail a combo, if you get contested, don't just give up and play inside of your team or playing card. Like, reset, find your next position. Reset, find your next position, and don't get caught pursuing poking
Sounds so dumb
at the expense of your angle.
You've crystallized it really well, because I'm thinking back to when I have really successful matches, and that's exactly what I do. I'm just so annoying.
Right.
Just in general, I'm just impossible to kill. I'm so annoying, and then eventually they mess up.
It's being willing to go, okay, this is not going my way, so I'm just going to reset the battlefield and try again. That's not just the blessing of mobility, that's the responsibility of mobility. Because if you think about
I like that. That's a refrigerator line, Spyro.
Right,
it's not just the blessing of mobility, it's the responsibility.
I mean, it is, because the way the thing is balanced is like, a lot of the more powerful 1v1 characters are ones that cannot disengage, right? Like, you look at like a Bucky, like the reason he has a kit like that is because it's just not very easy for him to disengage a 1v1. So and same thing with Thor, right? Like Thor, like he's got, I guess, technically mobility, but like if he starts to lose a 1v1, he's kind of stuck, at least compared to a lot of other DPS characters, right? Whereas if
he commits his F,
it's over.
It's like,
it's over.
Better kill it,
right?
Because you can't even get shields.
So for you, your advantage is not winning every 1v1. I think that's the crucial thing. You are really good at it, but it's about, I'm not winning this 1v1, so I'm going to start over. And that is like unbelievable power. And I think if you're not leveraging that, you're screwing yourself over.
I think I'm going back into that version of tilt that I have that I was telling you about, where I force really dumb plays when I tilt, and I don't realize I'm doing it. I will face tank that Thor because I'm just shoot him in the mouth, and then he's shooting me in the mouth, and I'm like, well, that was dumb of me.
Right, because you're like, I can handle it. I'm bigger, I'm better. But it's like, why? Like, that's not what makes your character special, you know?
Yeah, and that goes into the DPS conundrum that I'm in, right? So I would more often pick up on that as a tank, as to, he's not my job. They can fight their demon. I'm gonna zone all of his healing off and do like 10 million damage to him by doing that, instead of like tickling him with
pretty much exactly that.
So my job is to be annoying, to have a good position, to engage on targets that are favorable, or to control space with more so Magik, I think, than Psylocke. But I can be annoying.
I would agree.
Is that good?
Yeah, I'd agree. Now, I will encourage you